All right.
Okay. So today we're going to be continuing our discussion on knowledge. We learned about the different types of knowledge, conventional knowledge, knowledge of the trade. You know, these are types of knowledge that are not necessarily bad, but it's not the real essence of knowledge that Mawlana Rumi is advising us to seek. And we're gonna talk more about that today. So this session over here is about what he calls ilm taqlidi, right? Taqlid means to follow or to mimic. So ilm taqlidi is knowledge which you learn directly from others. You just follow and copy it. It's not knowledge that necessarily comes from the heart. So he says, "Ey darvish," means oh dervish. Ilm taqlidi dar in alam be kar ayad. So ilm taqlidi is useful in this world. و تحفه آن عالم را نشاید, and is not a gift for the next world. که از او هیچ کار نگشاید, and nothing useful comes from it, is what he's trying to say. كما أشار إليه المولوي قدس سره. So then he quotes in the words of Mawlana Rumi, علم تقلیدی و تعلیمی است آن که ز نفورش مستمع دارد فغان. So علم تقلیدی و تعلیمی, right? So ilm, knowledge of that is mimicked, right? And knowledge that is learned. Ta'alimi is, you know, knowledge that you learn directly from somebody else. Is that which kizinufurash mustami' darad faqan. It's when, in order to, it's when the listener, the mustami' is not willing to listen to it and is running away from it, is trying to flee from it. طالب علم است بحر عام و خواست نه که تا یابد از این عالم خلاص. So طالب علم است, so the knowledge is sought بحر عام و خواست, for the, so the knowledge is sought for the sake of the common folk and the noble. نکتا یابد از این عالم خلاص, rather than seeking to be released from this world. So in other words, this type of knowledge is more for the sake of impressing others, right? Both the common folk and the noble folk, as opposed to being released from this world, right? To transcend to a higher level, in other words. علم گفتاری که او بی جان بود, عاشق روی خریداران بود. So ilm guftari, so knowledge that is obtained by discourse and reasoning, ke ou bi jan bovad, so knowledge that is obtained by discourse and reasoning that doesn't have a soul.
Reasoning is not here. I mean, guftari is something that you hear, basically, by talking back and forth. It doesn't have to be reason. Why? Because he says it's lifeless. So this, when you hear and learn, that is life, that's lifeless activity.
Yes,
Then
you're
go
right.
ahead.
Yeah,
Then it'll make the sense. The second verse will make the sense to you.
yeah. Guftari discourse. You're right.
Yeah.
عاشق روی خری
عاشق روی خریداران بود.
عاشق روی خریداران بود. It seeks the appearance, the outer appearance of خریداران, the buyers.
Yes.
گرچه باشد وقت بحث علم زفت چون خریدارش نباشد مرد و رفت. So even though, you know, at the time of the discussion or the discourse or the debate, the you know, it's very, you know, hot and robust. چون خریدارش نباشد مرد و رفت. But well, once there's no buyer, it dies and goes.
Yes.
مشتری من خدایی است و مرا مشتری من خدای است و مرا می کشد بالا که الله اشترا. So مشتری من, so my customer is God. و مرا می کشد بالا, and he pulls me up که الله اشترا, for Allah ishtara. It's a verse from the Quran, right? Allah buys.
Yes, yes.
این خریداران مفلس را بهل چه خریداری کند یک مشکل. So these این خریداران مفلس, so these poor customers, these destitute customers را بهل, leave them, abandon them. چه خریداری کند یک مشکل, because all they, you know, because چه خریداری کند یک مشکل, what can you buy with just a handful of clay, you know, worthless.
No. He's addressing the man now. Whoa. This little man, which is nothing but a little bit of dust, what can he buy? I mean, he's nothing to buy anything. What can he buy? This person made of just little dirt. He's not. You have to be connected to God rather than man. That's what he's trying to say. So, don't go by these poor people. They are not capable of buying anything. What can a little, you know, one handful of dust buy? That's what he means.
Right. Yeah. So he's saying what? Well,
yeah.
So what can be bought with a handful of clay, I think, right? Is that?
No, handful of clay is man here. That's not the money. That's he's addressing a man.
So the man is?
Man is nothing but one. Okay, so he's what can a man buy? Not the dirt. Man is referring to yak mushtagil, which is very common proverb in Farsi. When they refer to man and say he's nothing, what is he? Just a piece of dirt. That's what it means.
So the buyer is
buyer is that, yeah. If a man is a buyer, then he's not capable of anything because only he's a fistful of dust.
Yeah, no, I think that makes more sense. Yeah, the buyer himself is.
He's comparing in the previous line that your buyer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he has bought your life, your and whatever against, you know, that reference to the verse of Quran. Allah ishtara bil mu'minina, whatever, you know, Muhammad will tell you what that is, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bought from the believers their life, their this and that against, you know,
because yes, paradise is for them.
Paradise is for them. So he said, what can a man buy who's only just fistful of dust? Beautiful verse though.
Yeah.
Okay, the bahil is new word for me, but yeah, go ahead.
And this, it says destitute, but muflis, doesn't it mean bankrupt?
Muflis is, yeah, but no, it's not even destitute. Muflis is poor. The poverty is also relative. If you're living in Toad Hill and you only have a house worth 60,000, you're poor. But if you're living in Bedford Stuyvesant and you have $60,000 house, you're rich. So muflis is somebody that is poor comparative to his surroundings. So basically, doesn't have to be destitute, because that will be totally bankrupt. And that you still are out in the market, but you don't have enough to buy. That's muflis.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Welcome.
گل مخور، گل را مخر، گل را مجوی، زان که گلخوار است دائم زرد روی.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
So gel machor, don't eat clay.
Dirt.
Don't eat dirt. Gel ram machar, don't buy clay or dirt. Gel ram majui, don't chew dirt. Zan ke gel khar ast daim, the one who is always eating dirt, zard rui, is yellow faced, is ill. It's the sign.
Pale is pale.
Yeah.
Has no life in it. I thought Gulram Majoi don't seek it, but you said chew. Chew also is.
Well, so Javidan, right? It means to chew it.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's right.
But
okay.
no, I wasn't. Yeah, Majui also means don't seek it. You're
don't
right.
Don't seek it. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But if chewing goes better here, because it's not eat, don't buy, and don't chew. Okay, that's good too.
And that was the first thing that came to my mind. But yeah. No, you're right also. دل بخور تا دائما باشی جوان و ز تجلی چهره‌ات چون ارغوان. So دل بخور. So instead of gel was dust. Del means eat. So eat heart, right?
Yes.
تا دائما باشی جوان, so that you will always remain young. و ز تجلی چهره‌ات چون ارغوان. So your face will manifest itself and will be bright, like arghavan. Arghavan is a type of it's a type of flower.
Yes.
Type of beautiful flower. علم تقلیدی بود بهر فروخت چون بیاید مشتری خوش بر فروخت. So علم تقلیدی بود بهر فروخت. So علم تقلیدی is only for sale چون بیاید مشتری خوش بر فروخت. When it finds a buyer, it becomes lightened up. It becomes illuminated. مشتری علم تحقیقی حق است. دائما بازار او با رونق است. So علم تحقیقی, right? The real knowledge or the knowledge of truth.
You research.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
مشتری علم تحقیقی حق است. So Allah, right? حق, God is the buyer of علم تحقیقی. So he's contrasting علم تحقیقی versus علم
تقلیدی. Yes.
دائما بازار او با رونق است. So that market is always lively and full of splendor.
Very nice.
Yeah, so then maybe we can
now stop for a minute. Let's comment on this. Let's go back a little bit. You know, ilm taqlidi is what we learn in colleges and schools and stuff, because somebody wrote it and we are following. Now he has put it down a little bit too much. I think ilm taqlidi is something that is like for kasbi, like we had discussed it before, that you require knowledge for having an easy life on earth for, for your trade and for carrying on the responsibilities that you may have from your family and others. So it's required somehow or the other. In these verses, he has put it down too much, and he feels that just walk away from it and go to the ilm tahqiqi, because that is the forever bustling kind of a marketplace where you will find always buyers, and that is the way to go. How do you feel about that? I mean, this ilm taqlidi is essential also for being at least at par with your neighbors and peers. You can't totally ignore it. I am saying it because if everybody was into fakr and into spirituality and just depended on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his knowledge and all that, then the worldly affairs in those we will be behind, and we will not really be getting our place in the society. But again, that's my feeling.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Hmm.
In many places in the Quran, it is mentioned that when mankind seeks the divine, everything else falls in place automatically. Whether it is the earthly knowledge or the attainment of the accolades on this earth, everything else falls in place if our ultimate goal, if our intention, the niyyah, is to attain the divine knowledge.
Yes, if he was to make that point, I would buy it immediately, perfectly. Yeah. but here, he kind of put it down too much. But again, that's Mawlana.
Assalamu alaikum. I think any knowledge which is beneficial knowledge.
Exactly.
That's a very vast, any knowledge which is beneficial knowledge is a good knowledge. And that's a very vast canvas, you know. Beneficial knowledge is both in terms of here in dunya for the benefit of humanity, and also a knowledge for the hereafter and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we can just burn it up a little bit rather than one versus the other, rather than having a definition of knowledge which is beneficial to humanity in all respects.
Yeah. You see, right now, if I deprive myself of Professor Google and start to wait until I find out how many people live in Kathmandu, it may take me a lifetime and still not know it. But all I have to do is go to the ilm taqlidi and find out what is the population of Kathmandu, and Professor Google will tell you. So that is the ilm taqlidi, because I'm learning it from people that have already put that, and they have gone there and they have counted those people and they have shared that information. Although it looks like a ilm taqlidi, maybe something that is not your personal effort, but it has a place, just like Brother Tai just mentioned. So you can't totally downplay it. The other thing that I would have preferred, when we talk about ilm, the opening one full chapter should have been about, regardless of how much you think you know, you will come to realization that you didn't know. That part, human knowledge versus the knowledge, body of knowledge out there, we cannot get but 1 trillionth of the knowledge out there. So we have to first realize that our capacity is very, very little compared to the knowledge out there. So, and to find that out, you have to really learn and learn, then to realize, oh my God, I don't know. That has to be there first when you talk about any kind of religion, because once that gets into your heart, then you realize that a statement is made to you about God being able to do this, that, and the other, then you immediately realize that my knowledge is nothing compared to the body of knowledge out there, and this may be true. I should not discard it because it does not come into my calculation, but my knowledge and my ability to learn is very limited. So this is the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that should be the first, and then ilm taqlidi we are just learning today is there, but that is not going to take you to paradise. Then you will have to go to ilm tahqiqi, because that is the truth. Mushtari ilm tahqiqi haqas. Allah buys that from you. Yeah.
I agree with everything that was said here. I think there's maybe two things to take with a grain of salt when reading these couplets. One is that, as you can see over here, they're not all from one place in the Mathnawi. It comes from actually a couple of different stories, and Sheikh Kashifi has kind of like lumped all of them.
He did? Oh, I didn't know that. So then that may make sense.
Yes.
Because Maulvi may have done that in that kind of a sequence in Mathnawi. And
yeah.
Okay, all right.
So you can see, like over here, we have a couple that they come from somewhere else, and then these are kind of like out of order.
Okay.
So I think it's interesting that the Sheikh Kashifi kind of when he takes these couplets and groups them together as sort of a thematic theme. The couplets do not necessarily have the same exact context that it did in the Mathnawi.
Okay.
So that's, I think, one grain of salt. But I think in general, what both Mawlana Rumi and Sheikh Kashifi are trying to say is, don't spend your life trying to become an encyclopedia,
right.
where you're just mimicking what you've read and learned in other places. Also focus on knowledge that comes from your heart, right? Knowledge, the transcendental knowledge of Allah and the universe. But yeah, I think that balance.
Now everything is proper perspective, and I think I'm glad that I brought that out so that you came up with this, because I was not even thinking that these are out of sequence. Now that I look at the numbers, I realize. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, and then Brother Amir, I think, mentioned in the chat. He asked about ilmul ladunni, right?
Ilmul ladunni, yes.
And I think that's the correct point. I think Mawlana Rumi is trying to get both Sheikh Kashifi and Mawlana Rumi are trying to get us to sort of get out of encyclopedia mode and try to seek ilmul ladunni, try to go in that direction as well. But yeah, thanks all for the great comments.
Try to, you can't, well, one thing about ilm ladunni is not something with your effort, though. It's given to you, and there is not, you can be a good receptacle for it and just pray for it, but there is this aspect of ilm ladunni that it comes to you.
Yes.
So you cannot earn it by doing a certain kind of a stuff. No. So it's just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala picks the messengers. He selects those people, selects them.
Yes.
Then purifies them. It's his selection.
Yes.
And similarly for ilm ladunni, the recipient is somebody that is worthy of that and is picked, so to speak.
No, that's a great point. And I think that's about becoming, as you said, it's about becoming that receptacle, right?
Yes.
And purifying yourself so that you have
the capacity and the intention to receive it.
Yes. No,
will we be so Dr. will be, this is kind of an ilham?
Ilham is different.
So ladunni is, what's the difference between knowledge given by Allah and not acquired? It's not acquired knowledge, but it's given to you. Is it wisdom? Is it how do you explain this?
You see, with the chair's permission, you see, with the again, the knowledge that is given ilm ladunni is something that is needed by that person to do God's work for that time.
Yeah.
In other words, I may be sitting here and suddenly I get that inspiration. You see, revelations came through Angel Gabriel to the prophets. After that, that system is over. Now the information of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his selected people comes through these inspirations, so to speak, or ilham, you can say, like you, Brother Tahir just mentioned. And then that makes them do certain things out of their usual routine. And this is what was required of them. And they end up, and doing that, which was to be done for Allah's sake. If somebody prays that I just want a good meal today, and somebody somewhere just cooks and gives and delivers and goes out there, and suddenly he finds that person and he says, okay, take that. Both of these may not even know what happened, but the connection was made up there through these inspirations to both. So that is the understanding that I get now, because now people are not going to get the revelations from through any angels or anything. So now ilm al-ladunni is what people are given, and through that ilm they can service the mankind.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Dr. Abdul Rahman. In the Quran, I think one of the examples of ilm al-ladunni was Khizr, right?
Yes,
The
yes,
special knowledge that he had and what he knew what to do in certain situations.
yes. And that does not mean that he knew everything or he could do anything on his own. No, there was specific knowledge given,
Right.
and it had a purpose for that time. And after that, he's now waiting for the next such delivery from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. So in other words, he did not know more than Moses at the time. He did not really know everything. He basically was being agent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through ilm al-ladunni and do certain chores.
Yes.
Hmm.
Jazakallah khair. So
Jazakallah khair. Beautiful, mashallah.
So if you'd like, maybe we can go through part of the next section.
Oh yes, we still have time. Yeah.
Sure. So this next section is criticizing people who have knowledge but don't make use of their knowledge. And I guess these two sections are related to each other. Vaishan. So در بیان مذمت علمای بی‌عمل. So in criticism of the ulama who do not act.
Right? Muzammat is condemnation.
Oh, okay. So even more severe.
Yes.
و ایشان شبیهند به چراغی که خود می‌سوزد و مجلس می‌افروزد. So they are similar to a light that burns themselves and makes and lightens the majlis, right?
Assembly, yeah.
Assembly, yeah. و یا طبیبی که بیمار است و دیگران را به شربت خود معالجه می کند. Or similar to a doctor who he himself is ill, but then prescribes and cures others
with his syrup.
With what?
With his syrup.
With his own, yeah, with his own syrup. و خود از آن بهره‌ای بر نمیگیرد. And he or she, him or herself, does not take any benefit from it themselves, right? So both the light and the physician,
right,
cures others, but does not, they themselves do not benefit from what the medicine that they give to others. و اگر به تعلیم خود مشغول شود, and if they were to instead teach themselves, یعنی به علم خود عمل نماید, meaning to act upon their knowledge.
Beautiful, yes.
از جمله علمای ربانی باشد و از تهدید ایمن باشد. So it means they would have become safe from all threats and become among ulamai rabbani, among the scholars, among the noble scholars, right? Or
right.
The heavenly scholars, maybe.
Yeah.
And then he cites this verse from the Quran, que أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم. Do you command mankind, instruct mankind towards goodness, and وتنسون أنفسكم, and you yourself forget?
Yes, forget yourself. Yeah, is this a Quranic verse? Tansawna anfusakum, Amir?
Yes, it's in Al-Baqarah. تأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم
I did not.
وأنتم. It's
وأنتم تتلون الكتاب.
وأنتم تتلون
But
الكتاب.
yeah, then it's not tansawna. Read it again. Atamuruna.
No, it is تنسون. أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تعقلون.
Taqilun. Oh, okay. I thought it was tanhauna. Okay, tansawna. Okay.
Yeah, you forget yourself. That's right.
Okay, tansawna anfusakum. Yes. Beautiful.
So here Mawlana Rumi says, ای دلی که جمله را کردی تو گرم کن خود را و از خود دار شرم. Oh heart that has inspired everybody, and has
Invigorated, and motivated people. Yes.
made warm, right?
Yeah, motivated them to do action.
Garm kun khudra means make yourself warm, or in other words, inspire yourself.
Warm up yourself.
Yes. Va az khud dar sharm, and be ashamed of yourself. ای زبان که جمله را ناصح بودی، نوبت تو گشت از چه تن زدی. So, ای زبان, O tongue که جمله را ناصح بودی, who was the nasih, or the advisor to
others.
all others. نوبت تو گشت, now it is your turn. از چه تن زدی, why are you silent? وقت پند دیگرانی های های، در غم خود چون زنانی وای وای. So he says وقت پند دیگرانی, so when it's time to advise others, hi in Farsi means it's the sound of crying. So it's like you're crying when you're giving others advice, sort of like shedding tears, and you feel all sorry and sad. در غم خود چون زنانی وای وای, in your own sorrow, you are like women crying. Vai vai means vai vai means like oh no. آنچه 50 سال بافیدی به هوش، زان نسیج خود به غلطاقی بپوش. So آنچه 50 سال, that which over 50 years, بافیدی به هوش, that which you have woven, or you have sewn, so there's multiple ways to read this.
While alert, with full consciousness and effort that you have been sowing for 50 years.
Yes, zan nasij khud. So with that, with that that fabric that you've sewn, right? This dress that you've sewn for yourself. The ghaltaghi bepush. So wear it around you.
Yes.
Wear it yourself.
Yep.
از نوایت گوش یاران بود خوش، دست بیرون آر و گوش خود بکش.
Bakush.
Yeah, it
should be bakush, but okay.
Bakush rhymes. So as نوایت گوش یاران بود خوش. So from your sound, your friends, their ears were very delighted.
They enjoy it, yeah. They enjoy it.
Right? They enjoyed it.
They're happy, yeah.
Dast birun ar, so take your hand out, و گوش خود. So take your hands out and pull your own ear. Means hold your ear out and listen, listen
Yeah,
yourself.
you're right. Bakash, that means you're open so that you can hear. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Not kush.
I
It's
mean,
kush.
you're
It's
the
kush.
poet. I think kush rhymes. It makes
But it's not, doesn't, Bakash is good. You pull your ear so that you can hear it better. Yeah.
جهد کن تا مست نورانی شوی تا حدیثت را شود نورش قوی. So جهد کن, struggle تا مست نورانی شوی. Struggle so that you become drunken in the light.
Mm-hmm.
تا حدیثت را شود نورش قوی. So that your discourse, your hadith, the light of your hadith becomes strong.
Mm-hmm.
علم اندر نور چون پرورده شد پس ز علمت نور یابد قوم لد. So علم اندر نور, so knowledge that is inside light or is encompassed in light and is chun parvarde shud. So knowledge that is encompassed and is nurtured in light. Pas ze ilmat nur yabad qawm lud. From your knowledge, pas ze ilmat, from your knowledge, nur yabad qawm lud. So the people of Lud will even derive light from your knowledge. And so over here, Lud is translated as people who are obstinate. I guess this is a reference to the Quran. Lud. I didn't look at what this verse was. See, okay. Somebody, okay, no, this was a few minutes ago. هرچه گویی باشد از نور هرچه گویی باشدان از نور پاک که آسمان جز پاک نفرستد به خاک. So whatever you say, هرچه گویی, whatever you say, باشدان از نور پاک. Whatever you say will be from pure light.
It should be from that Torah. Yeah.
Oh, it should be from pure light, yes. که آسمان جز پاک نفرستد به خاک. Because the heavens send nothing to the ground except for purity.
Yeah, pure. Yeah, whatever comes from the sky is always pure. So that's what you have to do. Good.
Yeah. So maybe this is a good place to
stop. Yes.
30, and then yeah, this goes on for like another page.
Mm.
So if others have thoughts or would like to share comments, I think. So Reza just sent a verse from the Quran. I'm just clicking on the link. Qawman Ludda. Okay, this is from, thank you, Brother Reza. This is from Surah Al-Kahf. Hostile people. Okay. Things thereby to
yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah.
I thought it was common lut and he used it for in Persian, but it's different. Okay.
Yeah, very good. MashaAllah.
And
yeah, I mean, one thing that came to mind as you were discussing about this the cloak that you've been weaving for 50 years. It's one thing which is remarkable about traditional societies, including Muslim societies, is respect for age or older people, and the idea that someone who's lived longer deserves a respect just by virtue of that life experience. And so I think this is interesting, right? Because when we look at sheikh, the literal meaning of the word sheikh, which means old man, and I think pir also, you taught us, means the same thing, old man.
Yes.
So the idea that veneration based on age is something which is very nice that we see in traditional societies and not necessarily everywhere in the world now. And it's a good, it's a virtuous
Great
thing.
point, because reverse is happening in Western societies. Because once somebody becomes beyond a certain age, they totally ignore them and make them irrelevant. And that should not be. You're right. So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, great point.
And it just so happened that both of these words, the pir and sheikh, have some reverence to it, just by linguistic just connotation also. And
Yeah.
that is because traditionally we do respect our elders, and this is why the titles came about, I'm sure. Yes.
Jazakallah. Great.
Okay, sheikh in Arabic or pir in Persian may mean something, but when we took it in Urdu, sheikh is not just old man, but we use that for teacher, a person who's teaching you, especially Islamic education. The Shaykh al-Islam means this, the very big leader in Islamic teaching. So that's why Shaykh is used that way. And peer are those people who are totally dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their next meal. So they really don't have to go out there and do any trade to live. So they become totally dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people revere them, and then somehow or the other, and there is enough bounty around them, people come in there and share their meals with them and whatever else. So whatever their needs are met through other people's effort. So peer is somebody that you go and seek their company, although in Persian it only means old person. So I'm just connecting that to how these words were chosen, and certain reverence was attached to them simply because of age, like Amir mentioned. Yeah.
Jazakallah.
So dar bayan muzammat ulamae be amal. The essence was that this is the story about those scholars who go around talking nice things and advising everybody what to do, but themselves do not do it. They are be-amal. Their own actions do not reflect their education. So he tried to be nice with this, with the example that you've been weaving this for 50 years. Now it's time for you to wear it. And you have been learning and teaching others. It's time for you also to believe in it and act by it. So that's why now with the muzammate ulamae be amal, scholars that have no personal character that matches their teachings. So they tell others what to do, but they themselves don't do it.
Yeah, this reminds me of the verse of the Quran where Allah says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ كَمَثَلِ الَّذِينَ كَمَثَلُ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا, right?
Something like, yeah.
Similitude. Yeah, the similitude of those who carry the Torah, but don't act upon it is similar to that of a donkey that carries a load of books.
Yes. But cannot benefit from it.
Cannot benefit from it. Yeah. It's interesting. I always believe that Allah gave all these examples of Bani Israel, not just so that we condemn them and say, oh, shame on you, but it's so we don't make the same mistakes. But it seems like in our own ummah we have been. We do the same things. Even though
I just wanted to thank you so much for all the beneficial words and wisdom. I just wanted to kind of string along the thoughts that were presented by you all, and talk a little bit about this concept of like having a lot of knowledge but not applying it, or not knowing how to use it. It just reminded me that about just the condition that modern man finds themselves in general. Not specifically like a Muslim context, but in general, we find ourselves in the 21st century having so much knowledge from scientific discovery of the universe, of the microbiome, just an amazing amount of knowledge, and yet it seems that knowledge of the self and knowledge of Allah is dwindling. And so there's outwardly there's a notion of false illusion of progress, that we all think that we are progressing, but in reality the real, ilm haqiqi is we're losing it. And I just kind of thought of that when you all were talking. So alhamdulillah.
Beautiful.
Perfect. And as a matter of fact, I think this discussion there by the Maulana Rumi must have started with that, and then it's going on to these things. Here, when I talk about this kind of an ilm, some of this that you just mentioned about scientific advancements and all that, I call that information. Quite frankly, this is just accumulating more data, more information, but I don't know whether that's really ilm. So just a subtle point that I'm making, that we may be getting information and getting data from here and there, with things that are already there. We are analyzing them, we are recognizing them as to what they are. Now we know what they are, but we have not translated that into knowledge. And knowledge is something that is that information plus your mind and kind of a product that comes out that has an application somewhere. Then it becomes knowledge, rather than just the data that is sitting there. And it really does not accumulate. It does not form itself into a shape that we can use and apply. So if any of this was to point to how dark our inner being is and how far away we are going from ourselves, that we are forgetting our own nafs, like the brother just mentioned, then it's information. Yes, it's getting some kind of a new idea about something, but it's really not translating into knowledge that can be applicable in finding the truth of life.
In fact, I think that it's pretty safe to say that this new knowledge that we're constantly discovering about ourselves, outwardly speaking, it actually becomes a tool of arrogance and displacement away from Allah.
Exactly.
And you really do see that, like people who, I'm a resident physician. People in my field can be incredibly arrogant, and because they think they know everything about the human body because they've studied in school for 4 years and they've read this and that article, and they become so closed off to the possibility that their knowledge is limited, not just in a physical form, but a metaphysical, in a metaphysical way. They think that everything they've seen is everything in totality, and that's wrong.
Yeah. Brother, can you read? No, Mahdi, can you read the very first one? Read that, and that will really summarize it for us now. The first one. ای
دلی که جمله را کردی تو گرم، گرم کن خود را و از خود دار شرم.
خود دار شرم. Be embarrassed about yourself.
Yes.
Okay, it's not just ashamed, but just realize that you are warming up others and you give them all that kind of an information, yet you have not warmed yourself up. You have not really used that energy to warm you up and to get you kind of aware of who you are. So I think that is what explains all the rest of the things. That you are out there trying to impress others and trying to show off that you know something, you should be embarrassed and ashamed that you have not really utilized that for your own good, for your own benefit. That is the essence of the message that he's trying to convey.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay. Any other comments?
Alhamdulillah. As they say, that the real knowledge is an applied knowledge.
Exactly.
Inshallah.
Yeah, actually, to following brother Reza's point, it reminds me of a proverb we have in Farsi. We say درخت میوه هرچه پربارتر باشه شاخه هاش سرش میاره پایین. So a fruit tree, the more fruitful it is, the more full of fruit it is, the branches will come lower and lower.
Yes.
So it's the fact. Yeah, the fact that people become arrogant about their knowledge and hold their head up high about it actually means that they don't really know anything.
They are fruitless. Yeah, as a branch bears fruit, it puts her head down.
Yes.
It bows down as it bears fruit. Beautiful, beautiful kind of a example.
So yeah, you're right. I think people who truly know more also know how much they don't know.
And also there's another proverb, there's another verse in Urdu for stuff. It says when a flask full of drink wants to deliver, it bows itself down to the glass and pours out from her into the glass by bowing down. It's the same concept of the tree branch.
Yeah.
So when you deliver good liquid for others to drink, you have to bow down and pour that into their being. Yes. Not by arrogance, but by bending down and realizing that you are delivering to others with humility.
Jazakallah. So I just saw a message from brother Sajid. Assalamu alaikum, brother Sajid. He said, please note next Wednesday, inshallah, on site at 11:30 p.m. at MCPG.
Salam, everybody. Yes, if you recall, we had planned to have one meeting a month on site, and Dr. Abdul Rahman had graciously agreed. So our next meeting, Dr. Saab, if you can just comment on that.
You're talking about that session, the new session that we're starting?
Right. So that will be in addition to this, or is that
No, that's a different session altogether.
Okay. So next Sunday, we'll do this thing in the morning, and inshallah, again, at 11:30, Dr. Abdul Rahman will be talking about.
We are starting a new kind of a program in which there will be a lot more detailed discussion on teachings of Rumi and Iqbal. Occasionally, we will mix Iqbal also because there is no difference between these two. Iqbal is following Rumi, and he has done both Persian and Urdu. And I think that will be a different kind of a format.
Okay.
So it will be more or less just a presentation first and then discussion afterward. The presentation will be long and it will not be necessarily interactive, but it'll be just a monologue, like a speech first, and then we'll go. We'll take few verses. It's titled, thankfully, by Brother Sajid, 10 love lessons from Rumi. And it will be an interesting discourse. It'll be a different this format, but I'm sure people that are on this group will enjoy it too, and enjoy it. And then hopefully we will enlarge. That group should be larger because the time should be convenient. The first one, what is the date? 12th, is it?
Next Sunday, sir, 12th.
Yes, next Sunday.
12th.
Yes.
11:30 at the masjid.
So it's the second Sunday of every month. I think it's the second Sunday of every month.
Second Sunday of every month. Yes. If we have 5 Sundays, then we will only do 2 sessions anyway.
Okay. So it's once a month.
Once a month. Twice a month.
once a month for 4 months, inshallah.
Once a month for 4 months. Okay.
4 months, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have the flyer, which I will post over here,
Okay.
and please distribute to. I couldn't post it while we were on the call, so. But
Okay.
please distribute it, and inshallah, hopefully you can gain some knowledge from Dr. Abdul Rahman and others.
You see, our purpose basically was to draw more crowd, make it easy for them, and then hopefully we will develop a group of knowledgeable people in these two areas, and they can then, more or less become participants
Right.
in future, and we can have we can evolve into something, that should be very beneficial for all of us, inshallah.
Inshallah. I just have one more request, if we have 30 seconds.
Sure.
The Afghan refugees are here at Fort Dix now, and we've been going regularly to provide them supplies at Fort Dix. One of the biggest needs they have is for Quran in Farsi. And since Brother Mehdi, we are having trouble sourcing these in either Farsi or Dari. So if you've got any source, let us know. We'll buy them.
Okay.
If you can let us know, or just WhatsApp me or anybody else from Tahir Bhai. We just want to buy. We promise we'll get them Quran. There are around 1,500 refugees at Fort Dix at Fort Dix right now.
Oh, they're here, mashallah. Okay.
Yes, they're here.
Okay. With Farsi translation, yeah.
Farsi translation or Dari. We only could find Urdu. A lot of them understand Urdu as well, so we're trying to get them in Urdu. But ideally, they want in Farsi or Dari. And if you have a source to buy this, please let us know. Inshallah.
Let me look it up and I'll
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very, very nice. So shall we conclude with a brief dua?
Please.
Brother Reza, how about you?
I'm sorry, we're changing diapers here.
I didn't know you were plus 65.
MashaAllah, this is Abu Suhaib.
I see.
Can somebody please do it for me? Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
Maybe Tahir Bhai? And Tahir Bhai, if we could make special dua for Nihat's dad, that would be nice.
I don't know if Tahir is still on. He may have left.
He's muted.
Amir, you do it. Do it brief and let's.
Okay. Allahumma lakal hamdu laka shukr nashhadu annaka la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Ya Allah, we ask you to guide us with these lessons. Help us to incorporate them in our lives. Help us to be those who not only gain knowledge, but also apply that in our lives. Help us to learn from our experience and to use our life wisdom to get closer to you and to increase in our obedience of you and increase in our closeness to you. Allah, help us to be from those who seek the most beneficial type of knowledge and apply that in our lives. We make special dua for our brother Nihat's father, that he be fully healed, that he return from the ICU to his family in good health and good spirits, and that he enjoy a long life in your obedience and a long life with his family. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Ameen ya rabbil alameen. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Okay. Until we meet next week.
Inshallah. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay. Thanks so much. Okay.